Welcome to Rewrite Reality with Jillian Greyse, the podcast leading the global shift in transformation through frequency, quantum healing, and energetic mastery. I'm your host, Jillian Greyse, architect of energetic alignment, and for 20 years, I've been a pioneer of integrating self-transformation for thousands of souls. Each week, we answer the questions that keep you stuck and deliver high-frequency tools to heal and evolve every layer of your being. Join me to elevate your vibration, rewrite your reality, and activate the life your soul remembers.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Rewrite Reality with Jillian Greyse. I am so excited for this topic today because it's a topic that everyone thinks about. It's a topic that has been of the forefront of everyone's mind at different points, depending on what you're experiencing, depending on how you're trying to better yourself, and that is your abundance, in the vibration of abundance. So I chat pretty heavily about this in Vibrational Architect's Handbook. In that book, I go through an entire chapter that talks about aligning with abundance and what that means exactly. So I was very excited to get so many questions, an overwhelming amount of questions on this topic, but I know how important it is for everybody. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to pick questions that were going to cover most of the questions that came in and really nail this subject down because it is highly vibrational. And this first question comes from Sophia in Lisbon, Portugal. And the question is, Jillian, I've been practicing gratitude daily, but still feel stuck financially. Is it possible to vibrate at abundance when living in scarcity? That answer can be very challenging for some people to hear because it is yes. However, if you are vibrating at abundance, you don't believe that you are living in scarcity. So it becomes a mind game when you're working with vibration. And it's all about faking it till you make it, or getting into that emotional state as if you already have what you're looking for, and then letting the universal energy align. The problem is, if we don't see it, we don't believe it. And that exact thought process has caused us to become filled with lack. Because in order to receive something, you have to align with it first. So you can't have it before you are it. And that's where things get a little bit muddled up. And a lot of people I see do this, where they'll put out into the universe, this is my intention, this is what I want, this is what I'm trying to bring towards me, but then they'll keep checking their bank account, or they'll keep checking the prices of every item as they walk through a store, or they will keep this in the back of their head, that they have to consistently be on point with everything that's going on with them financially. And that frequency, those actions don't align with abundance. Abundance, feel that when you hear that word, abundance. What happens? Think of what it means for you to have abundance. What feeling is attached to that? It sure as heck is not constantly checking your bank account and constantly checking the price of everything and needing to have a sale in order for you to splurge. When you're abundant, you don't think about those things. And it doesn't mean go out and be outwardly irresponsible, because that's a totally different vibration. To just decide you're going to throw caution to the wind and then buy everything you see, that isn't the answer to that lack of abundance. You've got to change it from the ground up. And the ground frequency of that lack of abundance is this feeling of scarcity. So gratitude and what you're practicing every single day, Sophia, that's a great way to start. When you get in alignment with the feeling of having gratitude for what you do have, then you're going to be building and cultivating more of that feeling of abundance just naturally. So if you look at the things around you and you are constantly noticing how amazing it is to have those things, if you feel like I'm so blessed to have these things in my life, and you take the simple things. Maybe it might be a cup of tea in the morning before you got to get moving with your day. Maybe it might be the view out your window when the sun is rising. Those simple moments of aligning with gratitude, that frequency is the same as abundance. So when we talk about frequency, when we talk about vibration, I want all of you to understand I'm talking about emotion. Emotion is the driver of all of this. And if you can have control of those emotions and you can take those emotions and channel them the way you want them to be channeled, that's where you get to take whatever you're looking to bring towards you and really start to form it. You really become the architect when you have control of those emotions. And it's increasingly challenging in a society where we want to tell everyone around us that they're responsible for our emotional state. The last thing that we're being called to do right now is take responsibility and control of our own emotional state. And if you stay in that current narrative, then you are going to stay highly controllable and you are not going to ever reach that full potential of being able to manifest or being able to be the creator in your own frequency. So it's a choice for you on what you're going to begin to introduce into your timeline right now. And for so many of us, that is this timeline is ours, and we are going to stand up to begin understanding it deeper. And that's one of the reasons why I'm spreading these messages to everybody. And I'm doing everything I can to give all of you this knowledge because it's easy, but also difficult because it's such a simple explanation, but we have been in this world idea for so long that a lot of us have trouble understanding the simplicity of it. And the truth is, you've got to just feel it. Get into that vibrational mode every day. Try to do it first thing in the morning. Try to practice those gratitude exercises as quickly as possible so you can set the tone for the day. And the more gratitude you're building, the less you're going to be able to say the sentence, can I vibrate at abundance while living in scarcity? Because you're no longer going to feel like you live in scarcity. And the moment you can no longer feel like you live in scarcity, guess what's going to happen? You're going to move out of that state and new opportunities and new things are going to begin to unfold. But you've got to take that jump first. And I know you can do it, Sophia. I've seen so many people step into it. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. But it's huge to move from one spot to another in that vibrational language. This next question comes from Darius from Vancouver, Canada. And this was a tough question. And there's a lot of levels to this question. So I want all of you to take a breath with me real quick as we kind of move through them. The question that Darius wrote was, can ancestral trauma impact our abundance flow even if we're not consciously aware of it? That was part one of his question. Part two is, how do we know what's energetically ours versus what's inherited? Okay, so for those of you who don't know ancestral trauma is we have these genetic lines of frequencies, or what I like to call our soul groups. And our soul groups travel together within the same lessons. And in those lessons, we learn various things as we move along. And we can do things, or our soul group can have experiences within their free will that then creates what some theological practices call karma, what some theological practices call sin. There's a lot of different names for what could be created when you choose sort of with the lower vibration part of yourself. And that energy can be passed down from generations to generations. It's one of the reasons why we see major issues kind of travel along lines of ancestry for people, whether it's addiction, whether it's abuse, whether it is scarcity. We'll see that travel along a lot of ancestral lines. And it's because each soul who's coming in to have a life experience has to learn or to release certain traumas or certain karmas or certain sins from past ancestry lines or from past soul frequencies that we come in with. So you can definitely be the unfortunate or fortunate, depending on how you want to look at it, because it's all a learning ground. But you can come into this earth and have that heavy ancestral frequency around abundance and around financial issues to come in with you. Let's say you have people in your soul group or you have people in your ancestral lines that did something that was karmically abusive to money or abundance for other people. Then you're definitely going to come into this earth with pieces of that. And there's some things that can help that tremendously. One is having the knowledge of healing those ancestral frequencies. I actually have a meditation out on my YouTube at jilliangreyse.com. If you go right up to the top, you'll see a little link to meditations. You'll also see a link to the YouTube channel. That can take you right over to my page. I have a specific meditation for the karmic release of ancestral lines and karma. That's a great way to start going into that etheric vibration to release it, because it is releasable. The key is acknowledging it and showing that you've learned what the lesson was. So if you're still going around and stealing, or you're still going around and shoplifting, or you're going around and you're being untruthful about your financial situation in order for some level of gain, then you still hold that vibration. It doesn't matter how many times you do that meditation, it's still going to be like a boomerang coming back towards you. But let's say you are well aware that this has been a consistent vibration that has entered into your field, then you can have the ability to go in and release any attachments to it and make that process of learning even faster. Because when you acknowledge that, yes, I do need to heal or work through A, B, and C financially, I can see that I came in with these problems. I watched my parents, splurge and then file bankruptcy over and over again. So I can see that this is something that's in my family line. When you can acknowledge it, then you're releasing it from the physical realm, but you also have to release it from the vibrational realm. Because remember, that vibration, that electric current, that's what we truly are. So you have to release it from the deeper aspects of it. So acknowledging it emotionally on a physical level is one thing, but then also going back and being able to release those timeline frequencies, that can make it so you can move past that lesson a lot easier, a lot faster, and a lot more streamlined. So I'm going to highly suggest, if you are finding that there's this pattern of monetary issues within your vibrational frequency, that you acknowledge them. You make sure that you're very karmically clean when it comes to the choices that you're making with your finances and money and all of those extra pieces that have to do with that karma. And then take a look at, how do I release this vibrationally? Take a peek at those meditations. Take a peek at meditations that are going to help you with that ancestral release or the ancestral exchange. And that's a great way to break that karmic bond. So you're not stuck with it permanently. That's the best part of it. It's acknowledgement and then release, and then knowing exactly how to release on a deeper level to make it go faster. Okay, the second question is, how do we know if it's energetically ours or inherited? This one's a little bit easier. If it's yours, you tend to not see it. So people tend to point it out to you 100 times and you just don't want to look at it. That means that frequency or that karma is very alive within your free will or within your soul pattern. So if you can pan out and someone's doing exactly what you're doing and your perception would be different, but you can't see it for you, then that's going to show that it's definitely within your permanent or your current timeline. And acknowledging it and being able to step outside and see it again is going to be the most important piece. So it really doesn't matter so much if it's personally yours or if it's personally from your family timeline. What matters the most is being able to acknowledge it, because once you can acknowledge it, you can take something that was formerly hidden in your frequency, put a spotlight on it, and then make choices to change it. So if you do find yourself in that role where you're not sure if it's you or if it's something that you inherited, that doesn't matter so much. The key is, once you see it, what do you do with it? And that is where the true healing begins to happen and begins to truly funnel through and make an impact. Okay, this next question comes from Melissa from Idaho. And that question is there a universal abundance frequency, or does each person have a unique vibrational path to wealth and fulfillment? So there's kind of both. There's a universal frequency of abundance that's always around us at any given moment. We always have access to it. And then we also have our personal timeline and our choices and the things that we want to bring towards us. And that path is unique. So I want you to think of it more like this. There is this unlimited supply of what we consider money and finances or anything that would cause us to feel wealthy around in our universal frame of energy at any given time. It's not bottlenecked. There isn't a limited supply like we've been taught, because it's a vibration. So vibration can shift and can be amplified at any given moment. How you choose to bring that abundance into your life is entirely your choice and based on your free will. So in your question where you're talking about how your vibrational path to wealth and fulfillment, that's unique to each person. Yes, because how you choose to feel abundance or how you choose to align with the vibration of abundance is unique to you. For someone, feeling abundant might be having tons of property and being able to farm whatever they want and live in a smaller home, but you're off the grid. That can feel abundant to you. For some person, it might be a yacht that they can go across the ocean with. For some people, it might be just having a healthy, loving family. It's different for everybody, but the key term is it's unlimited in its availability around us. So you can absolutely be the person who has the giant property, that has the house that's off the grid, that also has the yacht, that also has the family that's healthy, that also has the love of their life in their inner connections in their being. That is entirely possible. There's no limit. And I see this a lot. I see people feel like they have to choose one. And they have to choose a direction, and then they have to channel that direction only. And that's somewhat true as you're building that vibration, because you want to be able to focus on a frequency and bring it to life. So your focus is going to be really important in order for something to grow. And we've talked about that before in previous podcasts. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and it's where you place that life force to begin to expand. So if you find yourself in a situation where you really, really want one thing, but there's also other things outlying, work on that one thing that's right in front of you. Because when you obtain that one thing, you're going to open up and unlock that feeling and that frequency of abundance incredibly strong, because you have this one thing that you really wanted. And that's going to make the other things that much easier. So I'm going to encourage you, don't part off your energy. Keep it streamlined as much as possible, but also acknowledge that frequency of abundance is available to all of us. There's an unlimited amount of that frequency. So in our representation of whatever it is that we use as currency in this moment, it's just going to keep on moving, keep on showing up, keep on exchanging, keep on being different. It's a frequency that you can't hold back. It's something that is consistently going to be flowing, rejuvenating, and continuing to come back to each one of us. It's how much you have the feeling of abundance that's going to depict how much flows directly to your individual piece as you work through your lifetime on this planet.
Before we continue, let's take a breath. You're here for a reason, not by accident, not by coincidence, but through divine orchestration, and these words were meant for you. This is your moment to rewrite humanity. Think of one soul in your life who needs this transmission and send them this podcast episode now. There are so many out there who are silently struggling. Our role is to reach them, to ignite something ancient and true, whether it's someone you love, someone lost in the noise, or someone ready to remember who they are. This is your chance, because vibrational awareness doesn't just shift minds, it realigns lifelines. It reawakens paths. It reconnects souls to their original blueprint. Be the bearer of that light. It isn't just generous, it's sacred work. Share this, speak it, seed it. This is more than a podcast. It's a movement, and you're a vital part of it. Let's rewrite humanity together, one frequency, one soul, one remembrance at a time. Now we continue.
So to answer your question, it is both specific to the individual, but the flow is across to the entire collective, and how much you want to extract is available to choose at any given time, and it's completely up to you. Okay, this next question is from Isabel from Marseille, France. And this question is, how does guilt play into abundance misalignment? And is there a vibrational process to release it? So when you feel guilt, it's a lower vibration. You can't feel both guilty and abundant. Even if you're someone who, and we talked about this in one of our podcasts, when you become abundant, you almost feel guilty because those around you aren't at that same state of abundance. So you almost don't want to share it with them. You feel this like heaviness when you even attempt to. That guilt frequency is a lower vibration. So when we chat about vibration, we're always chatting about emotion. And if you think of the emotion of guilt, do you feel good or do you feel bad? That's going to give you an indicator that that's a lower frequency if you feel bad. And if you feel good, it's a higher frequency. So if you're feeling guilt, you're actually going to block your own personal abundance. Guilt is another word for control. That is one of the most clearest things about vibration that you could ever understand. If you feel guilty, it's because some type of a learned behavior that was incorrect because the feeling of guilt is a low vibration. Things that are correct, information that's correct and true to your soul, when you hear it, it's going to make you feel like you're having a natural high. You're going to feel extremely excited. You're going to feel extremely at peace. That's an indicator that the information coming through to you is true. We all have our own personal lie detector test, just based on that feeling. And if you could teach anything for your children, to teach them to pay attention to that vibrational piece or that vibrational emotion, that is huge, because it's going to shift what they bring into their experience. They're going to have their own way of telling the truth or having the truth exposed to them. So when you feel guilty, it's because of information that you've been given or judgments that have been placed upon you that are not true and based in controlling you. And I realize that I'm going up against a lot of different institutions out there, because all of our institutions that try to teach us anything try to instill guilt so that we give up our free will and we accept whatever message they're sending us. That should be the biggest red flag for all of you out there, to just step back from whatever organization or whatever institution it is that you're connecting with if that guilt vibration is strong, because it's not trying to give you knowledge. It's not trying to help your soul evolve. It is trying to control you. So let that be a huge red flag. When you have that guilt feeling and you're trying to pull abundance in, they are going to counteract each other. So the key is to release the guilt. And again, I'm going to go back to releasing everything vibrationally. This is always going to be my response, everybody. If you have something you need to let go of, release it from its source. Talking through it, having a conversation about it, chatting with somebody, reinstilling that vibration, putting it back out into the universal energy and reabsorbing it, that's not going to get you anywhere. You have to handle things at their source, which is the electric current that brought them in, or the charge that's within you that continues to still be there. So a great way to release that guilt energy is to do a meditation to release guilt on a daily basis. Not just once you do it one time and then you walk away from it, not just once in a while. Whenever that guilt is coming up, you want to have a mantra. So it breaks that cycle, breaks that frequency coming in. And a mantra is a sentence or a reset button of words that you can use to wipe that part of your memory or your mind that's trying to connect with that, to release it immediately. So a really good mantra for guilt is, everything in every moment I live my life is in love. I choose to expand and to release that vibration to all around me. So when you say that, when you've got that guilt coming in, you're going to counteract that guilt from really setting in and starting to have that vibrational control. That's a great way to release it. And I'm always going to tell all of you, a meditation for guilt is huge. Again, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but been there, done that. I've been doing this for 20 years for so many individuals, thousands of people. Releasing guilt really has to be done at the vibrational core. And a meditation, that's why all that stuff exists. So the meditations and the journaling and all those things that are kind of they got labeled as that new age culture stuff, or pushed aside and thought of as being like these, light, fluffy ways of trying to deal with things, or people didn't want to handle reality. It was called those things and labeled that because it worked. And that's what happens a lot with our narrative. If something's actually going to work to heal you, it gets demonized or used against us in some way. The truth is, meditation, prayer work, mantras, walks, yoga, deep breathing, all of those things clear something from the vibrational set point. And that's a scary thing if you want the set point to be something that you're controlling. But if you're trying to control it for yourself, that's empowering. So if you're trying to release guilt, doing a meditation for guilt on a daily basis, so to set the tone of your vibration as, I'm not going to honor this side or this piece, that's huge. And then whenever it comes up throughout your day, to also revisit it and do some release. That's another great way of gaining that power back. And once you do that, it's life-changing. So Isabel, for my response for you, yes, it does affect your alignment with abundance, and doing a vibrational technique to release it is going to be key so that you can open up that abundance frequency and let it flow to you in the way that you deserve. Okay, and this last question that we have is from James from Asheville, North Carolina. And James asks, does planetary alignment really influence abundance opportunity, or is that just a myth? I'd love your quantum take on this. So, when the earth is aligned with different frequencies, it's going to cause that frequency to be more abundant on the planet. And it doesn't have to be financial abundance. It can be the earth is currently aligned with a frequency of gaining more spiritual knowledge, or it can be the earth is aligned with a frequency of being able to heal some of your ancestral energy. The ancients knew that. When we're looking right now at what was going on underneath those pyramids out in Egypt, we're understanding there's a huge piece of this vibrational element of the earth we stand on and the celestial frequencies above us that we are not privy to. And all of us who have been aware of how those different alignments affect us and how when you grow from a perspective of expanding your soul, you start to feel more and more. And those feelings are often mislabeled and thought of as being anxious because you experience this quickening. So in your mind, you're told that that quickening is anxiety on purpose so that you shut it down and you learn to ignore it, or you learn to think of it as something that's bad. We are all at a point where we're understanding the depth of what that truly is and what it truly means. And we're watching this awakening occur on this planet where people are just understanding things from a different level. And when the earth is aligned in different ways, it's going to shift a lot of things, not just abundance. So when the earth is aligned with having more knowledge, like it is right now, you're going to see this influx of people that are sharing soul truths, that are getting this energy out there to go against that control narrative that's been out there for a long time. So the earth does play a strong influence on your ability to harness some of these things. It's not the sole influencer, though. So during a time when there is not a lot of abundance frequency on earth, can you manifest abundance? Absolutely. Does it make it easier if the earth we stand on and the frequencies that we're pulling in through the soles of our feet is all about abundance? Absolutely. But you can do it either way. And right now on this planet, there's a lot more excess of information that's flowing out. Because if for us to get to abundance, we first have to learn how the programming that we have previously been tied to and we've previously been allowing is preventing that abundance from flowing. So we're in the middle of breaking up those structures. And for me, I want to make sure that I'm ahead of that frequency. So when you understand you're breaking up those structures, you understand where to allocate that frequency to next. Because all too often, you get this situation where structures fall apart, and then you get this next control structure to step in. And before people have time to think of how to make that next plan, they jump onto the next thing that's going to end up being the control source that's going to continue to drive our free will into a direction for X amount of time. This has happened over and over and over again. And for me, when I do this podcast, when I do the work that I do, when I release my book, when I work with people privately, my objective is to make sure that as these structures fall, you know to look within, because no one can take that from you. And that's what all this search has been. The search has been to find within us that truth, that power, that inner creator that we've always been in search of. And it's why every institution will eventually fail, because it is an outer reflection. Your job is to make that reflection from the inside. And there's going to be a lot of different things that help lead you to it. That's one of the reasons that I'm comfortable with theological practices, because they lead you to asking the right questions. The end result, however, has to be you look within you and ignite that peace inside. That peace is the peace that's forever. That peace is the peace that's eternal and all-knowing. So as we're going through this huge shift on this planet, and we're allowing all of these frequencies of this knowledge to awaken, it's so important that not only you see the structures that are falling away and you let them fall away in love. You don't get caught up in the anger. You let them dissipate. But you also build it from the inside. And you have that faith that you once gave outside of yourself, you give it back to yourself. Because that is going to be the all-knowing, the perfect alignment of frequency, the inner architect that you've searched for your entire existence, not just this lifetime. Okay, to answer your question, yes, the earth can help with the vibration at any given time. And that's one of the reasons why in my monthly class, I chat about all those earth vibrations. So you know it's coming in, because if you jump on board as it's flowing, then you can use it to your advantage and you can do half the work that you previously would have to do. However, you can do it even if the earth is not having that be on the spotlight. So nothing should stop you as the creator within. Nothing should stop you from stepping into that vibrational architect that you know is inside of you. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share and please leave a review. Other than that, I'm here if you need me, and I'm sending all of you lots of love, lots of light, and I'll chat with you soon.
You've just tuned into Rewrite Reality with Jillian Greyse, architect of energetic alignment and pioneer of integrated self-transformation. If this episode shifted your frequency, share it with someone you care about, because one share can spark healing, alignment, and a ripple effect of transformation in someone's life. Submit your questions today at jilliangreyse.com/ask and explore transformational tools, masterclasses, and frequency-based healing at jilliangreyse.com. Join me every week to elevate your vibration, rewrite your reality, and activate the life your soul remembers.